Good day, grade 7. I hope you are all fine. Once again, I am Ma'am Liza, your teacher in English 7. We are now in Lesson 8 of Quarter 1. I hope you will all listen to our discussion. For this week's objectives, we should learn to demonstrate the use of correct form of verb that agrees to its subject and utilize the proper use of subject and verb in expressing ideas. Last time, we discussed about subject-verb agreement, that is, focusing on regular and irregular verbs as well as pronouns. So for this week, we'll be focusing on portions, sums, and measurements. So check out the following sentences. Analyze the italicized words. 1/3 of the rice cake is burned. 2/3 of the rice cakes are burned. 5 pesos is a reasonable price for a small piece of rice cake. 3 minutes is already a long period to hold. 2 centimeters make an ideal radius of a rice cake. All those italicized words are called sum, portions, or measurements. So let us have rule number 1. Fractional expressions such as half of, part of, majority of, a percentage of are sometimes plural depending on the meaning. We have the word majority and minority. For example, the majority wants to join the camping trip to Batangas. A majority of the boys wants to join the camping trip to Batangas. So what's the difference between the two? They are expressing the same idea. But as you can see on the first sentence, it is singular in form. The verb is singular in form, the one that is underlined. And on the second one, it is plural in form. But the both use the word majority. So when we say majority or minority, it means an unspecified number. It could be more or less 50%. So if this is the case, use only singular verb. For example, the majority favors the suggestion given by the student council president. We use the word majority, but the verb here is singular in form because this is unspecified number. Another one, a small minority is against the given suggestion. So we have here the word is, the verb is, which is singular in form because the word minority here is not specifying a certain number. So it could be more or less 50%. If the word majority and minority means an specified number of person, you should use a plural verb. For example, a majority of the volleyball players are spending their free time catching up on their lesson. So we have here a plural form of the verb are because the word majority is specifying a certain volleyball players. Next one. A minority of the basketball players prefer to extend the regular practice on weekends. So we use a plural form of the verb prefer because the word minority is specifying a certain number of basketball players. We also have the word half of, part of, and percentage of. These word should agree with the preceding noun or clause. For example, 1/2 of the club members have already paid the membership fees. So the word have is plural in form because It is specifying a number of club members. Remember that we should always, or the verb should always agrees with the preceding noun or clause. So we have here the preceding clause of the club members. So the clause of the club members is plural in form. That's why the verb must also in plural. One half of this article was based on the research done by the partner company. As you can see, both use the word one half. But here, the verb was is singular in form because the clause of this article is singular in form. So that's why the verb must always agree with the noun preceding or with the clause preceding. 70% of the computers are still in good working condition. So the clause here is of the computers, plural. So that's why the verb must be in plural. About 5% of the team is willing to have overtime. So we have here a singular form of the verb is because we have the clause of the team, which is singular also in form. Rule number 2. For expressions of the time, money, distance, and measurement, you should always use singular verb. Examples. 100 pesos is my daily allowance to cover my snacks and lunch. So is singular in form no matter what the domination or the money, even if it is in million, you should always use a singular form of the verb. 15 days is quite long for Christmas vacation. So we will also use a singular form of the verb. 2 kilometers is the shortest distance of one barrio to other in one province. So it is also in singular form. 5 yards is more than enough for 3 sets of polo shirts for your school uniform. So again, we use a singular form of the verb. So no matter how long the distance, the number of money, or the number of days, the price of the money, so it is always in singular form. 8 hours of sleep is what our body needs. So once again, it is in singular form. So let us practice. Identify if the sentence show correct subject-verb agreement. So once you are analyzing, you can pause the video. Half of my friends agrees that travel is not a luxury but a necessity. So the verb here is underlined, agrees. So do you think the word agrees also agrees with the subject? So this is incorrect. It should be agree. Half of my friends agree that travel is not a luxury but a necessity because we have here the clause of my friends, which is plural in form. So the verb must also be in plural. Next one. A 1 week or 2 week travel gives you time to relax and leave your stressors home. Is this correct or not? So this one is correct because even though we have here 1 week, we have the word or the conjunction or. So as we studied last lesson, so when we use the conjunction or no matter what, it's still in plural, singular in form. So Despite it is 1 week or 2 week, it's still singular in form. Next, a small minority is inclined to travel. Is this correct or not? So the verb here is the word is. Is this correct or not? So this one is also correct because there are no clauses, or there is no clause or anything that specify which whether the word minority is 50% or less. Next, about 90% of travelers states that they get more benefits when they travel regularly. Is this correct or not? So this one is incorrect. So it should be state. About 90% of travelers state that they get more benefits when they travel regularly, because the subject is plural in form, so the verb must also in plural. So I hope you learn about our lesson for this week. So for your activities, you should always be reminded of the day of submission and also the things you need to write on your paper or on your book. And also read the directions carefully. So in your book, answer activity 7 from Integrated English for Effective Communication on page 66. So each item is 2 points. Thank you, grade 7.